Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, 25 years old, 25 years wiser, Simon Says.
Strong day. Strong day.
Welcome. How are we feeling? How are we doing?
How you doing there, buddy?
I'm doing pretty great. Good to see you
We're
guys.
Good. We're good.
Why don't we
We're
go
good,
around the
man.
room?
Thanks.
Why don't we go around the room? Let's all introduce each other. My name is Holiday Kirk. I'm a vaping addict. How are you guys?
My name is Zach Giebels. I play guitar in Simon Says, and I'm also addicted to weed. And Coca-Cola.
There we go.
I'm Matt. I sing or try to.
And I'm Mike A. I play bass.
Wow.
What's up?
Well, where do we even begin? Holy shit. It's crazy. Even we already did this interview together, but I still have a million questions to ask. So I guess first of all, I think I'm just going to actually start with my story about this because let's just take it back. Not all the way back to the 90s yet, but I want to take you guys back to like 2019. Maybe it was like 2021. Simon Says, the band, you guys were on Hollywood Records, major label, as you're aware. You got signed for $1 million is the rumor. $1 million. You put out 2 albums, got dropped, and then for 23 years, your music was not on streaming. So it basically didn't exist. I don't even think you guys were on iTunes.
No.
No,
So
definitely not.
when I first
Nothing.
We had
digital
one
this
song,
way.
and I think it was for the Varsity Blues soundtrack.
So-
That was about it.
when I first discovered you guys, when I was getting into nu metal, when I was discovering all these nu metal bands, you guys were like this myth. Like you pass around zip files of MP3s to find your music. And I remember I was listening to I had playing in a tiny Bluetooth speaker in the other room here, Shut Your Breath, and the song Siphon came on, and like 7 seconds into the song, I was sitting here, I was like, holy shit. Just like, you know, you get those magical music experiences every once in a while where something hits you and it just hits you. It's not about growing on you. You're just immediately like, this is one of the best things I've ever heard. And from there, it was just like, where are these guys? What happened? How is it possible that this band is just gone? And I think to communicate that story, we got to talk about Michael Eisner.
Yeah.
So
Well,
let's,
I like to call him Mikey, a good friend of mine.
Mikey,
Yeah.
let's go back.
Mikey and Mickey.
Yeah, Mikey and Mickey, they're good friend. Good friend. We go way back. I mean, it's a yeah.
Let's take it all the way back though to like when you first started. Where did the band come from? How'd you guys meet? That whole shebang.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all grew up in the same sort of vicinity, outskirts of Sacramento. You know, the original drummer, Mike, and I were, you know, best friends growing up, went to junior high and high school together, and actually met Zach at a party. His band was playing, and that's essentially what happened is his band was playing, ended up kind of, you know, I won't say falling apart, but, you know, everybody was kind of going their separate ways. You know, they're, you know, juniors and seniors in high school, and Mike Johnston and I essentially joined Zach's band and sort of started Simon Says. And then, you know, went through a myriad of bass players over probably the course of a couple years. And then convinced this guy here to start playing with us. And he's a couple years younger than the rest of us, you know, were and are. And he was taking lessons at the music store that Mike Johnston was teaching at. And, you know, rumor has it that he was just kind of shredding away in his bass lessons, and everyone, you know, all the instructors and all the store employees were kind of hearing him through the door. And so we just kind of jumped on him and said, you have no choice, you're joining our band.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the OG beginning. So this lineup, you know, I mean, we started the band in probably 93. I mean, I didn't even have my license yet. Arietta,
I didn't have my license
Mike
when I
did,
joined.
when he joined back up in probably 95. And so, yeah, we've been, you know, there you go. That's kind of the origin story, you know.
And you guys all met in Sacramento, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were initially very influenced by like the Sacramento post-hardcore scene. Can you name a couple of
Totally.
those bands?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we're, Far and Deftones are,
Yeah.
probably the two that stand out that you're probably alluding to for sure,
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think they're from Sacramento, but what about Quicksand?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
All those
Yeah.
bands from like the 91 to 94 era, like I think changed it, like our lives. Like Helmet, not Orange 9 millimeter, Gorilla Biscuits,
Jawbox?
Jawbox,
Jawbox.
Jawbreaker. I mean, all those bands. It was kind of like Hum and like almost like a grungy drop.
Nappies.
It was like grunge drop tuning, basically, is what it was.
But with
It
that
was
like faster, more like Fugazi sort of focus to it. Like grunge was very like loose and kind of
yeah,
and like sad. I never think of post-hardcore as being sad. Post-hardcore is more fired up, more aggressive.
Fair
So but now you formed. How old were you guys when you first formed the band?
I mean, like I said, I didn't have my
16.
license, 15. I think I was 16.
Yeah.
Zach and Mike Johnson are a few months older than I am. So they were driving and I had to be driven to practice,
I joined
think we had
it when I was 15. The guys were picking me up for practices, driving
we
me
had a
out to the space
carpool.
and back home.
Yeah. We had to
Yeah.
organize a carpool because we all couldn't drive.
Now,
Kirk,
in
we were
my
really
mind,
we were really fortunate in the sense that like the first band essentially that we started, we fell in love with and went on to do some really cool shit. So, that I think that's probably a little bit different than a lot of bands, and in all genres, specifically in the new metal genre, which obviously you're the CEO of,
and you're a part of because you're a new metal band.
but I mean, I think a lot of bands have different origin stories.
Also, you're goddamn right. Hell yeah, I'm the CEO of New Metal. Sorry, I had to emphasize.
right,
that
straight
for anyone
up.
that Don't know.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
I think a lot of bands, when they end up getting their whatever their record deals or whatever, they've kind of been in and out of a myriad of bands, or kind of worked their way through their local scene, playing with multiple musicians. We didn't. We found each other, fell in love with what we were doing, fell in love with each other, and that probably is a big reason, or a big sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Reason why the story ended up the way that it did. We learned all of these band experiences kind of after we were signed to a major label.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We like almost grew up in it and then got signed, and we were only 19 when we got signed, so it was
right.
still,
I was just about to say, in my head, I feel like the distance between we're a band now and major label bidding war for you guys, that was not that long.
Not long in the sense of the industry, no. I mean, it was only a few years, but for us, it was those years were from 16 to 19, and so
which
really
feels
crazy.
like a really long time. When you're 16 to 19, that feels like a really long time.
Right.
We grew. I think
it's not like 30 to 33, which is like doesn't matter at all. It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
16 and 19, you live lifetimes.
Those years blink by.
Yeah. The problem is that we literally were like kind of growing up literally and growing up professionally. And I think, I mean, obviously now it's really easy to see it, but that was a contributor, and also a contributor probably to the downfall of it, because it was, I mean, I don't know how emotionally intelligent I am now, let alone when I was 19.
Or business savvy.
For real, dude. Like, you know what I mean? We didn't know anything. So yeah, you do your best, but a lot of it really, success-wise, you only have so much control, and then it's really luck and timing, and wait,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll pick that bone. We'll pick that bone, I promise.
Okay.
So you put out a few releases on your own. You put out some independent releases. Which ones? Remind me what those ones are.
So we did a couple of EPs early on. I mean, when we were literally still in high school, that I couldn't even tell you where to, if I have a copy of that or if any of us do. But our first full length that we did on our own was a cassette tape called Little Boy, I think we did that in like 96, and then we did a full-length CD in 97 called Perfect Example. And that's essentially what kind of drew the attention of the labels, and you know.
Because you guys didn't a lot of like those like that first half of the 90s, when I think about how bands got on, label or not, you really had to grind it out on the road. You really had to get in the van and play a million shows. You did not do that.
Well, we did some of that. We definitely did some of that.
Locally.
Yeah,
We did a lot of that. Yeah.
well, I mean, regionally, we went all up and down, the West Coast, from Washington down to Arizona, Nevada. I mean, we toured. We just didn't do national touring, but I mean, we spent, days and days, and I mean, we put tours together on our own, all up and down.
Yeah, I mean, I would usually book a tour every few months for us for a week, and then we would have to like save back up again. We'd do a local show, and then we would do it again. But we did a lot of tours on our own. But like usually the labels just want to see, like, kind of like now it's like online almost, but like they wanted to see that you could bring or basically produce a petri dish version of whatever they were gonna exacerbate.
Now when the labels came on, did you guys like get on the radio at all? Did you send out demos? How'd you guys get in the mix there?
So we had a really, really big handful of fans here that worked for the local radio station. And at that time, there was a really big local, basically little time frame. It was Sunday nights.
Yeah, like a local spotlight.
Yeah, it was like a local spotlight that we started getting a lot of attention from initially. And one of the radio DJs, Kylie Brooks, really, really loved us and really started getting behind us, along with the John, God.
The program manager.
Yeah.
Curtis Johnson.
Yeah,
Curtis Johnson.
Pat Martin.
Martin. A lot of those folks.
They all kind of got behind us. Yeah.
And so, eventually, not to cut you off, Mike, but I mean, Kylie Brooks was a local DJ here. She hosted a little segment here in Sacramento called Local Licks. It was on our active rock station, which is 98.5, 98 Rock
at that time. And
it was, I think the reaction was good. And then she ended up getting promoted to kind of a regular, full-time DJ at peak hours or whatever. And she, I mean, she basically she basically went to the program director and was basically like, you have to add this to regular rotation. And she just got behind it, and she just would not say no. And so that's ultimately what got the record labels looking, is because we were an unsigned band on regular rotation on one of the largest active rock markets at the time in the nation. That's what made the labels go, wait, who the fuck is this?
Not to mention that Mike Arrieta was in the band. He's a big popular guy. He's a popular guy. You know what I mean? He's popular in Sacramento. I don't know if you've ever been here, but people dig him.
Look at the guy.
Oh, and by the way, I just want to say, for anyone in the audience that thinks it's rude for me to be vaping during the stream, they're drinking. So
I'm drinking.
Hey, they're all drinking. So
yeah, dude.
Dude,
I'm high right now, dude. It don't matter. You know what I mean?
Now this is so. I've always been so fascinated with how the label industry used to work and how bands used to get signed. Now there was a bit of a bidding war for you. Am I right?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, there was. So basically what we had done is we were once we started getting some attention, we went to a friend of ours who was the guy that basically put on all the shows locally for us. We didn't really know much. So we were like, hey, man, you know the guys in FAR, and the guys in Deftones, and those guys had gotten deals, and we didn't know what to do. So we were like, hey, do you know anybody? Like, should we get a lawyer? Should we get a manager? What the fuck? So he literally called the Deftones lawyer and said, hey, he was in like San Francisco, and we said, hey, da da da. So we got on the phone with him, and once he realized what had been going on and all this stuff, he kind of helped basically quarterback it. Okay, you guys cannot be on the phone. Zach can't be talking to this dude over here at Geffen. And this, no. This needs to be organized. So he kind of came in and was like stoked and helped us, court us through this process. And then he ended up becoming our manager through it. So
Who all made offers?
fuck everybody.
Pick a label. Pick a label.
Pick a label.
Maverick.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, I'll put it this way.
Maverick. Yes.
Yes.
At one point, this is the way, and this isn't like, I'm going to premise this by saying this isn't because we're so rad. This is just
But
the
you
way
are.
it was. Well, what I'm saying is this is the way it was done. Okay, like you would get a label. Like we had one label come in that we had this practice space in LA, and they came and they saw us play for like 4 songs, and then another label would come in and we play the same 4 songs, and they would kind of do this whole thing. After about one day of that, almost like maybe 8 or 9 labels we did that with, then the next 2 days became crazy. Like we'd have an appointment, say 1 o'clock, this label's going to come by and check it out. But then like 4 of the labels would show up.
And you guys are
We had
teenagers,
labels
right? So
crashing
you
in
guys
our
must have been
practice.
fucking stoked.
We were.
Oh, no,
I think we were kind of like, what the fuck? Like we didn't understand.
We were in complete disbelief of the
Yeah.
entire situation.
Because it was really, I mean, it's weird to like have somebody tell you that like, hey, this showcase was for Warner, but fucking Virgin just crashed it. They just showed up. And so it's like, you're going, why? Like, we don't understand. We thought this was all organized. Like, you know what I mean? So, but it was all right. We just did what we did. We played, and then we had about, what, 12, 15 different labels all.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I think
You're like, let's go with the one that doesn't have any other rock bands on the roster.
well, here's the flip side of what Deebs is alluding to is like you just asked like you must have felt this and and the flip side of that is like Zach was alluding to, it's like it's not because everyone believed in us. Like you started to realize that like they all talk. They're all industry. They're all in the same shit. They're all going to lunches and dinners together, and they're all trying to sign the same bands. Like you started to realize, like labels were giving you offers because they didn't want the other label to sign you.
Exactly.
Like, it wasn't really about like, oh my God, this is like we believe so much in this band. It was about like
they had heard the buzz.
Yeah, well, I don't want them to sign you, and like you're good enough, so like I'll outbid their offer. So it started to become a thing.
There was an offer that we found out about later on that was literally to specifically offer to us to scuttle our shit. Like
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I mean,
so moving forward into what you're saying.
Wait, how does that work? How do you make an offer just to
basically they would sign you and shelve you?
Oh, okay. So it could have been worse. It could
have
been worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, we would end up with some money, and then that's it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We didn't want the money. We wanted to go. Right. We wanted to make records.
We wanted the career.
Yeah.
And so, going into like where you're headed with this, I mean, all joking aside, signing with the one label that doesn't have any rock acts,
Hollywood Records.
The way that Hollywood sold themselves on us is, and I, as scathed as we sort of came out of the whole thing, in real time, in that moment and that first record cycle, and even into the second record cycle, like I firmly believe that we signed with the label that believed in us the most, whether they worked it the right way or not.
Absolutely.
They definitely were, it's the blessing and the curse. The curse is we got fucked because they didn't know what they were doing, and we didn't know what we were doing. The blessing is like we went with the one label that ultimately believed in us more than anybody else. Like they legitimately were like, you are it. You know what I mean?
They were definitely true believers.
This is a mean question, but does it never keeps you up at night thinking like Maverick?
No.
It used to. Not anymore.
Thank God.
I kind of feel like I always felt like getting a deal or like a major deal, I mean, especially now, was like running a marathon where like the marathon started, but it's so crowded, it takes 5 minutes before you even get to the starting line. And that's what like being an indie band is. And then you get to the deal, and that's where actually the real work really starts. And if you don't have people that at least believe in you at very bottom, like you're screwed because it'll all just be a business transaction. And we got a lot of those. We got a lot of offers that were like, this is a business transaction. I'm not really sure they're going to get behind us when it's like rough out there.
I'll tell you what, when I watch, there's this amazing video of you guys performing at a high school on YouTube. And when I watch that video, I think to myself, like, if I had been an A&R, I would have moved heaven and earth to sign you. Because you're just like so energetic and you're so tight for being so young and you're just bouncing all over the place. Like, to me, you guys kind of feel like it would have been like a dream at the time. You'd think to yourself, like, oh, there's no post-hardcore band that's really broken through yet. These guys could be the ones.
Sure. I'm sure that's what they're thinking. I'm sure it's what we were hoping for. But, you know, life has its own way of
Well,
working
let's keep the
itself out.
story pushing because we know what we're talking about. Maybe people don't. So let's keep the
go
story
ahead.
pushing. So you sign with Hollywood. Tell me about that part of it, how that came together, how you landed on that decision.
We kind of narrowed it down as Zach was saying, like, you know, I think we had, 15 or 16 labels that were, basically offered us deals. And, so we kind of went through this process over a week or two where we narrowed it down to like 4 or 5 that we really felt like either we just loved the label, loved the A&R, or just felt like they had our best interests in mind. And ultimately, kind of what I was saying a couple minutes ago is like, through that process, I think we just ultimately felt at home, like this is the best place for us with Hollywood. Did they offer us a shitload of money? Yeah. You said $1 million. It was actually, when the rumors, is actually over $3 million.
Hey, Mike said that.
It
was over what? It was over what?
Yeah, when you embody everything that they're going to throw at you, not a signing bonus, everything that they're going to put into like, multiple records and living expenses and stuff, it was well over $3 million.
Promotion budget, touring budget.
Yeah, touring budgets and all kinds of
what
shit,
was the,
So
what was the advance?
What
was the advance?
Not that much.
Not that much. Not that much.
But
enough to live comfortably during that time.
But we were young, and I think we were savvy enough to know that we would be stupid with a large advance. So what we opted to do, with the help of our management at the time, I mean, it's one positive thing I can say is that, we basically divvied it up into a living expense to where basically we were just getting disbursements individually to kind of make this money last as long as it could. And I'm glad we did, because we did go out and buy some dumb shit with our advance.
What'd you buy?
I mean, we bought motorcycles, we bought
bought a
cars, we
motorcycle with Matt.
all kinds of dumb shit. You know?
You bought all kinds of awesome shit. Like that's what you're supposed to do.
We went straight fucking
We
Motley
did what your
Crue.
typical stupid,
Come on.
early, late teen that gets money. We went out and
dude.
did some stupid stuff.
Right.
Did you still have to? Did you still have to go to
motorcycle.
prom? Did you still have to go to prom? Were you like, yeah, what's up, motherfuckers? What are you guys doing after high school? Oh, you're going to college? Oh well, I guess that's cool.
But I would say overall, with Hollywood, it was at first it was amazing. I mean, we couldn't have walked on water any more than we did. I mean, it was just the red carpet rolled out every time we came to LA during the recording process of our, first record, living in Burbank. And I mean, just everything we wanted. I mean, we just felt like, wow, this is what it's supposed to be like.
That debut, where did you record it?
A few different places. We tracked.
NRG?
No, we didn't go to
Ocean Way.
NRG. Yeah, we did the bulk of it at Ocean Way, and then we tracked a lot of the guitars and vocals at a little studio in, where was it? Zach, in the Valley, like at House of Blues.
Yeah,
House
it
of
was
Blues
owned by
Studios.
House of Blues. Yeah.
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 So
It's cool.
the big budget stuff where we needed the big live room for bass and drums, we did fairly quickly. I think we got through that in between 2 and 4 weeks, and then Zach and I, well, the whole band really, but Zach and I, that's where the scrutiny was. That's where we spent like the months tracking, was like guitar vocals, and mixing later, and
So now you settled upon this sound that actually surprisingly people often refer to it as pop punk, but it's not really. It's like pop hardcore, where it's like a lot of really sharp chords, drop tuning all over the place. and these like high vocals with big choruses, hooks versus bridges, all that. Were there any like nudging in certain directions, or did you guys go into it like, we're gonna write some fucking pop songs, let's do this? Because they are pop songs. You can't.
Sure.
Yeah. Pop arrangements for sure. Yeah. There were some talks about that record being remixed by other mixers, and we had sent it out to a couple of individuals, got it back, and at that time we talked to the team, and they thought it was a little too jaggedy and a little too aggressive for what was being played on radio. And so that's ultimately why we ended up sticking with our original mix.
Yeah.
But, it did make its way out there, and ultimately circle back to our original.
So here's where the problems kind of start. So listening to the album now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Always, when I listen to it now, I think to myself, I like this, but I understand why it didn't perform so well. There's not really a skew at the time of alternative rock, modern rock radio where that kind of fits. Because I think about like the bands that were really breaking at the time, like Bush or Marcy Playground or Red Hot Chili Peppers. You guys don't sound like any of that. Not even close.
Yeah. I think I think that's accurate. I think hindsight being all whatever, the records, let me try this again. The records content was there. I think the mix is not aggressive enough, and that made the band sound less aggressive or less heavy.
So you're making, because it's like you're making post-hardcore, but it's really spiffy and shiny. So the post-hardcore kids are like, I'm not getting into this. And
the live show just wasn't connecting with that record.
Yeah, the sound was just a little polished compared to what you were being shown and what we portrayed. So
right. And the live show, by the way, was very good. You guys love jumping up and down. You guys were like, you guys fucking love jumping up and down.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah.
Was there like practice? You're like, okay, we're gonna jump on the one and then we'll land on the two.
No, I think it was more like just do it on time. Don't look like you're just fucking having
out there spazzing out.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a lot. I know a lot of it looks choreographed. I'm sorry I cut you off, Zach, but
that's all right.
I know a lot of it looks choreographed, but it
looks
really
awesome,
wasn't.
By the way,
it really wasn't. I mean, hand to God if you believe in that, whatever. But like, it really wasn't. It was just through repetition. That's just what became natural. It's like we just knew we wanted to emphasize big hits on ones and on down crashes and
I'll tell you what,
everything else was like whatever. It just instinctively we all just would jump or go down on a one, and it's just that we just all feel it the same way.
It's very hard not to do that when Mike Johnson is playing drums, because that guy fucking hits.
Yeah, he's a beast.
I
told him when I met him, but I think he's second only to like David Grohl for like 90s power drummers, because that guy fucking hits a drum.
He can hit hard, dude. That motherfucker. I used to have to. It's funny. The best thing was that I used to handle, just because we were trying to save money, and so we would, I was like kind of tour managing / whatever for a little bit, and I remember having to deal with the guy that he had cymbal endorsements with, and it was like literally every other fucking day, I had to fucking call this guy Steve at his.
We need another crash.
Yeah, no, for real.
Ride.
The
fucking China cymbal. We need another China.
They were getting mad.
We need you to overnight us some gear.
Because Mike likes like thinner cymbals, so they kind of splash and kind of right, and that's fine. That's his prerogative. But he would just break them. So I'd be like on the phone almost, or on the FedEx every other day, sending cymbals back and trying to get new ones. And then to the point where the guy got pissed, like he got mad.
That's your whole advance, your whole record budget gone.
Yeah,
cymbals.
He got like snippy with me once, and then I let fucking Mike just take over. I'm all, dude, I don't even know this guy. Like, he thought Mike was like taking advantage of it. Like he thought he was like
he's like reselling them in the parking lot later. Like,
yeah,
he got extra crash cymbals.
I'm playing frisbee in the parking lot of some random club out in the Midwest.
Right.
Yeah, no, it was not the case.
But we would send them back to him. Go, no, look, and there would be literally like a brand new cymbal with a fucking crack in it. And they'd be like, What are you doing to these things?
I kind of empathize actually, because it's like we're sponsoring you, we're sending these symbols, and you're just breaking them. Like, what does that say about our symbols?
Yeah.
Right. Well, needless to say,
wait. Was it Sabian? Was it Zildjian? Was it Paste?
I think it was Peisty at the time.
Feisty.
time,
I used to be
yeah.
I used to be a drummer, so I played
Yeah.
I played Sabian, and everyone's like, "You gotta play Zildjian. Those are the good symbols." Why do I remember this?
I
It
just
was like
remember that poor-
drummer culture is like, you gotta play Zildjians,
Formative
man.
years, yeah.
It's like, I'm
that
Sadie,
poor-
ride or
that poor
die.
guy. I just remember that poor guy Steve at
Oh, you know what?
fucking
You know what's fucking crazy? I can't believe I
still
just remember this.
getting called from me.
Hold on, this is insane. Peisty had a reputation as being easy to break cymbals.
Do they really?
They actually had
There
that.
you go.
I remember this in elementary schools. It being like
Oh, okay.
Peisties were cheap ass cymbals that you'd break no problem. This is actually.
I thought they were expensive. I
Yeah.
thought they were really
They were
expensive.
super expensive. They sounded great.
Dude, this is
They sound good, they're
crazy.
just
No,
thin.
I remember this. It's like Sabians are really good. Zildjians are the king. Peisty are junk. You'll go through them like
Really?
no problem.
I didn't know that.
That's funny.
Okay.
You guys are gonna have to text Mike about this, because that's funny. I just remembered all that.
Well, I have a post endorsement trauma from that experience.
I mean, you got to admit, like you're saying like, oh, I didn't know that, but now that you're thinking about it, right, you're thinking like, shit, maybe that was the case. 'Cause-
Well, the thing is, like, all I knew is that I'm just handling it, and I'm just the guitar player. And Mike is very specific. I mean, he knows what I want. This, I want it like this, I want it like this, and it's like that's cool. But I'm just the guy letting you know, hey, I'm sending these 3 cymbals back, and he'd be like, whoa, what is he doing to these things? Like, I just
Hey,
sent him those. You know?
So speaking of guitar, I noticed something about your playing. You really like octave chords, just the 2-finger octave chords. Did that come from anywhere? Or were you just like, because it's a really cool sound. I remember the first time I learned to play octave chords, I was like, this is awesome. It's melodic. It's sharp.
I think that I'll be real with you. I think Queensryche.
Really?
Yeah, Queensryche Empire was like a huge turning point for me. 91. That was my first rock concert, and like they played ESP as well, and then they use a lot of those chords. And I find myself at this age now, when I look back and I listen to stuff, I can tell that like that record Empire was still in me. Like
I learned how to play octaves through learning Weezer songs, and now that I mentioned Weezer, like there's another band you guys did not sound like.
No,
like
no,
you couldn't really sequence like Buddy Holly and Perfect Example next to each other. It was probably tough.
Although, you know, I will say though that at the time and to this day, I always thought the guitars though on that blue record are badass.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say bad. No, the guitar
those
tones.
records sounded thick.
We can't get too distracted in this, but the guitar tones and the feedback from the guitars on that
It-
album are fucking amazing.
Dude, just that Weezer record is so perfect, Marshall. It's like awesome. You know what I mean? Like it's perfect.
So, what was your guys' sound? I mean, what'd you guys use? How'd you get your tone? The bass on that thing is pretty fierce too.
So shit. That first major label release, it was essentially a Fender. So out on the road, I was using G&L at that point, but recording wise, I used a similar kind of Fender-esque kind of bass to record most of it. Yeah, I was G&L pretty hardcore. Zach, he was ESP. Mike, I think his drums were Sonar drums, maybe. I think at that point.
Yeah, Sonar or maybe Premiere. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he had Premiere for a little while.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the record's done, turned in, and Hollywood gets you guys into a photo studio to take a really shitty album cover picture. He's like,
Our old practice space.
Yeah, they're like, here, Mike, wear these
All smoke and mirrored out.
Mike, wear these poverty jeans. Let's get you all looking at nothing. Matt, we're gonna Photoshop your hands to be just huge for some reason. And they basically made you guys look like a Swedish boy band.
I think their intention was to use the assets that they thought they had, these young, good-looking kids, you know, and blah blah blah.
And at the time, you know,
just a bad
for their label, they had a bunch of boy bands, and that's kind of what they knew what to do.
Oh yeah, Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Who else was
glossy? Yeah.
I
mean, they had Youngstown was one of them. I remember.
Mac, yeah.
They should have sent you on tour with them. I'm gonna be honest. I think that would have worked.
Well, there might have been more people at the shows, that's for sure.
Wait, so did they send you on some whack ass tours?
No, Hollywood
no,
didn't
not
really have
really.
anything to do with the touring
Did you go
stuff.
open? Were you
Yeah.
opening for bands?
Yeah.
You opened for
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Well, we did a lot of things. We did a bunch of stuff. We did like this X Games tour thing where we went like, and then in between we did club dates, and then we did school tours where we would do a school.
The X Games tour, by the way, perfect for you guys. That
I mean, it
very
was X
clutch.
Games 1, so they at that point didn't have very much traction.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
it was
it
like-
was,
it was
an
new
unheard
then.
of extreme sport festival type thing.
Yeah, it was kind of
And-
new then. Yeah, it was kind of new then, and like we did that stuff. We did we did our own thing where we would do a school and then a club that night where we were playing, which was rough, but we did it. And then we got offers for stuff that like we just didn't think we fit on. Like we thought we got offered like a Godsmack tour that maybe in hindsight we should have done.
That
but
would
at
have
the
been
same
weird.
time,
You guys
were
would have got
also-
booed.
but-
You guys would have
Well,
got
that's
booed.
the thing is like we were like they're big and they have a big single, but the problem is like, is that going to be good for us? And we didn't think it would be, so we passed. And
Yeah.
like, but we did like Typo Negative, we did Limp Bizkit, we did a bunch
Okay,
of festival
Typo
stuff
Negative
in Europe.
also super weird. Very
Yeah,
weird
that was
pairing.
rough.
Yeah, we did that on record too, but
Yeah, that
yeah,
was-
Oh, okay.
rough.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that makes a little more sense.
a little less weird.
Did you
But we
guys?
went out with we went out
I
with
love that
I
Filter.
was
tour.
just
That was a
about to
fun
say.
tour
I was
for me.
just about to say. So Filter, that now
Yeah.
that's a band you guys actually do kind of sound like.
That was a great tour. That was
Yeah.
a great tour. Yeah, that was a terrific tour. I mean, Richie.
Which that was
and-
weird as that tour kind of progressed
Yeah.
because you had all the fanship of folks that really loved Hey Man Nice Shot, and they had already released Take a Picture, and so
Yeah.
you start to see a transition of fanship convert from young angsty teens to middle-aged individuals.
That's true.
And I distinctly remember Richie being kind of bummed out about that.
Oh,
Yeah, I
really?
remember it was almost like it was weird to see like a heavy band end on Take a Picture. You know
Yeah,
what I
like
mean?
end
we'd
up
be like,
attracting the pop audience.
wow. Well, I mean, and I mean, it it is what it is. It was definitely weird, but it was a good tour. I mean, we did
Yeah.
a tour
was
with
awesome.
Filter. We did tour with Filter in Europe too,
Yeah.
and we did Such a Surge. They're another European we did we did a lot of touring. We were on the road a
Now-
lot.
Yeah. Stained.
Which band?
Stained.
Stained. That's weird.
Yeah.
Stained, oh yeah, Stained, yeah.
Did a month and a half with those guys. It was
That's
awesome.
right. That's right.
So,
Yeah.
when did you start getting the feeling like things weren't going right? How many copies of the album did you guys ship in that era?
Oh, wow. I don't know.
I don't know what we
70,000?
shipped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably
sure we
something
shipped.
like that. I don't know what we shipped.
There's an
I-
adorable photo of them, by the way, standing around a cardboard display for the album. I don't know if
Yeah,
this is another-
that's Tower. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tower.
Tower Records here in Sacramento. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we did. That was
I'm
for our
not
release
sure.
party.
I don't know what we shipped, but I don't think it sold. I mean, commercially well. So
So
Yeah.
at one point there was a bit of panic where they actually tried to swap out the album cover. Do you have
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
around? I would love to see that again.
No, I don't.
So they,
I
like-
don't have it with me, but
So
yeah, they
so
basically
they
just,
so they flipped it over and put a sticker on it.
well,
Yeah,
no, they
they-
thought that it was a little glossy. They just thought that it was a imperfect image of the impression of the band. So they turned it up. They basically just turned the cover around.
Yeah, and threw a sticker on top of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh my God, Vivid Entertainment. So you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
end up in cahoots.
That was a thing.
You guys end up in cahoots now with a pornography studio.
Well, okay, hold on. So what happened was,
What had happened
what
was-
had happened was, what was we hired an adult actress for our video for Blister.
Wait, that's later. That's way later.
Yeah,
Well,
it is later.
but that's how that ended up.
No,
They-
that's not true. Because I sent it to you. You guys didn't even see it until I sent it to you. They were running trade advertisements with these
The
porn
Vivid
stars.
stuff was on the first record cycle.
These porn stars
Oh,
wearing
okay.
life
Wow,
jackets
this
to
Oh.
advertise the single. Remember that?
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry. My bad.
So you're in a bit of a weird situation where you're signed to Disney and you're in cahoots with a pornography studio. Now that I've reminded you like when that came together, can you tell us like how that ended up being? Who made that call?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll try not to be too long-winded, but I think it's all encompassing where you're coming from in this story, like with flipping the album cover around and stuff. Basically, to answer your question, when did it start to feel like, uh-oh? I mean, right away is when it started to feel like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I mean, from minute one, really. And that's
That's not
something
true.
that
You said that when you went to LA, they were treating you good. You're in Burbank.
no,
No, I mean
talking
from
about when
minute
the
one
record
after,
came out.
like from the release
From
of
the
the record.
release. Okay.
Yeah,
When the
yeah,
record came
yeah.
out.
So Jumpstart's released in what, April of '99, and then probably by June or July, it was like,
Yeah, you could
you
tell.
know.
Yeah.
And we can get all into that if you want to, but
And
so
I do.
how the Vivid thing, came into play was, fast forward, we're probably into the record cycle, probably going on a year at this point. I think we toured on that record for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
A year and a half at least. And at this point, we were frustrated. I think we were communicating through our management to the label, like, fix this. Basically, like, we're not doing any more fucking glossy poppy bullshit. Tensions were kind of rising in the band too, because I think we all wanted the same thing, but we all sort of probably had different visions on how to get there. Some of us were like willing to sort of like continue to play ball and work with the label and management. A couple of us were like, fuck everyone, like they're all pieces of shit. So that kind of created some inner turmoil within us and trying to navigate all that. But the Vivid thing was basically our radio department, basically kind of like one last hurrah, like a Hail Mary. And our promotions department at the label, payola was illegal at this point, which is essentially paying record or radio stations to play your songs. But there was legalized forms of payola. So, well, what if we're not outright paying the label to play, the single or add the single? What if we throw incentives at the radio station to add the single? So our radio department basically went to all the program directors and was like, look, if you add, Slider or Life Jacket, I guess it was Life Jacket at the time, to your regular rotation, you can enter into win a trip to Vegas to see the band play live, which they didn't give a shit about. The dangling fruit was, and you can, meet all these Vivid porn stars at a private Vivid, entertainment, meet and greet, basically.
Very weird tactics here. Very weird tactics.
Right. Because as we've discussed before, Kirk, like, at the same time that this is happening, Life Jacket's kind of blowing up on Johnny Tsunami.
Yeah, so I was just about to mention, you end up in a Disney original movie, Johnny Tsunami, and all those Disney original fans are like, oh man, I wonder what else this band's up to. Oh, they're the porn band. They're the pornography band.
Right.
They're the pornography band.
Yeah, it is a weird juxtaposition, but that's kind of how the Vivid thing came into play. So we ended up,
Oh, by the way, I really don't think you guys knew this, but Slider is in the background of a porn movie.
No way.
No, I'm just fucking with you. No, I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, I was like, yeah, dude.
You're like, send me the tape.
I was gonna talk about pinnacles of career.
Oh man,
I was about to post that shit, but the fuck.
Was there any tension between Hollywood and you guys now? Because it's like, there's no way the Vivid deal came across their desk, did it? Were they like, yeah, go for it?
Oh yeah, well yeah, dude.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how much of a deal written sort of thing it was. I just know it was a promotion that the radio department put together, and the label clearly signed off on because they went through with it and it came to fruition. So I don't think that we gave a fuck as a band. Like I would much rather be aligned with, at the time, I would have much rather have been aligned with Vivid than Disney, to be honest with you, with the market that we were, we were a rock band. We weren't a pop band, even though that's what we were being presented as.
And the music you were making.
Yeah, totally. It was right.
We weren't on. I think, oddly, being on a label that was their parent company was Disney, really had nothing to do with anything. But like, because of the way the cover photo and other thing, it was like we got this kind kind of label of being like a part of Disney or something. And it's like Disney has nothing to do with us, but at the same time, it's going to be a part of us no matter what, because the parent label is a part of it. And then if they put us in this Vivid and Johnny Tsunami, it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Right. So there's a big tension. The album bombed.
Yeah,
It did. It
The album
did.
bombed.
and bricks.
Now
It
here's
was
the
not
thing,
a commercial
right?
success.
Here's the thing about this story. And I'm just going to make this statement because it's true whether you think it is or not. If you had signed a really good deal and put out a big hit album and been successful like that, you would never have made Shut Your Breath.
You're right.
No,
You're absolutely right.
You're probably right.
Because
Yeah.
Shut Your
Probably
Breath
right.
is a concept album about being on a shitty ass deal, on a shitty label,
Absolutely.
and failing. It is like an album about failure.
It's basically
Yeah.
an album of like, we have nothing left to lose, so fuck it.
Mhm.
It is, I really think it's true, the most hateful album I've ever heard. You guys,
I think we were, yeah, I think that's accurate. I mean, we were, everything you read in those lyrics and feel in those songs, that was absolutely legit.
you're just
I mean, like,
you're
we-
just destroyed. Like the lyrics are just very grim, and like
They're
the
full of
song
vitriol.
Siphon. The song Siphon is about being so stressed out you literally can't see straight.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, because I mean, like, it would be like that. Like, there's some strange things that everybody always talks about happens in the music business. Oh, absolutely. There's some whack ass shit that goes down, and it's not us. It's not the band. Any band that like thinks that this is for real, like they're looking at each other going for real. That happens all the time. So you're not alone. Like we I remember sitting in the practice space, you know, looking at Mike or Matt and going, really? Like they can't believe that we're in this position in the first place. And then we're looking at each other going like, how can they possibly not know what they're doing? How can
Well,
they possibly?
they did sign
you know?
one of the VJs from TRL to make an album.
Right. Right.
Remember what was his name?
Jesse Camp.
Jesse Camp. They're like, guess
That
what?
guy's-
We do have a second rock band.
Dude, you know
It's
what?
Jesse Camp.
I'm going
Yeah.
on record. That guy's whack.
Yeah, we're aware. We've heard the album. We're aware.
That guy's whack. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. That guy's whack.
So, you know,
Dude is
what I
whack.
wrote this once about Shut Your Breath is that it's the sound of doing everything right and watching it all come out wrong.
Yeah.
Like you followed the playbook, you went by the rules, you worked your asses off,
Yeah.
and you know what it like. How did Hollywood approach you guys as like its second album time? Is it, you know, are they like it's do or die, no more Burbank?
No,
They
no.
did.
Yeah, we had a 3-album, firm deal, which means, that we were signed to make 3 albums no matter what. So it doesn't matter if both, the first and the second record tanked. They were, obligated
Committed.
to make a third record with us.
Yeah, they're on the
So,
hook.
and this is probably kind of, I want to say, getting towards the end of when labels were developing bands. So I think Hollywood, to their credit, went into this with the idea that like they would develop us. And I think that making, I think the process of making Jumpstart really was a developmental one in their eyes. I think they put everything in place to maybe try to knock it out of the park, but also, okay, well, this isn't do or die. So, okay, it didn't do what we thought it would do, and I've said this before too, but like, I know we're throwing a lot of shade at Hollywood and kind of like, the machine, quote unquote, but like we have a lot of culpability in it too. We didn't take interest in a lot of things that we should have. So, so when it came time to make Shut Your Breath, I think that the label was just as on board as they were with the first record. We were the ones that changed. We were the
Really?
ones that went into Shut Your Breath with our middle fingers in the air, basically telling the record label, we're going to basically take, we're going to control every step of this along the way, and you're either going to like it or you're not, but we're fucking doing it. Get the fuck out of our way. We're not taking another picture. You have no say in the artwork. You have no say in the promotion. Nothing. Like, this is it. So Move It or Lose It, basically.
And what a fucking album! Holy
and
shit! What an
so
album! Every
so
track, every single track, banger after banger. It is an incredible album. If anyone in the chat right now is working a really shitty job and needs something to listen to during that shitty job, this is the fucking album. This will save your life. I'm gonna tell you guys a story.
Thank you. That's a big compliment.
A really serious, like a really distinct memory I have of this one is I was working at a garbage job at the time. I had just finished working a 26-hour shift.
Oh my god.
So I'm biking home after this 26-hour shift. The sun's coming up. I'm on my bike.
You're on
and
your fucking bike.
I'm like woozy. I'm like kind of like swaying around, and I'm listening to Silk Moth, and I'm like this song, this album, or no, it was Canvas. It was Canvas. I think you have a lyric in there where it's like losing track of the days. And I was like, this is my life right now. It's just this album is my life. I'm living this album.
That's good.
Uninspired,
that
but
makes
motivated. Losing track of the days. That's like.
My impression of what Matt was saying about like Hollywood was on board. I think what we realized, we grew up a little bit and realized that like, I mean, naively thinking that, like I was saying before, that everybody is in their position because they know what they're doing, and I think we realize we're young, we're going, oh, you don't, so we uncomfortably, and the only way we thought we knew at the time was to take control of everything. It was like, okay, that's it. You guys don't know shit about artwork. You don't know shit about this genre. You don't know shit about making these kinds of records. So we're gonna have to da da da. And that might have been, a little coarse and not the best way of doing it, but that's what we had.
We're talking about.
We had to do what we had to do.
We're talking about all these regrets, talking about all of these like mistakes, all of these things. But if you could go back and change any of it, you wouldn't have got this album. So was it worth it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm super happy with where I'm at today, and I don't lose any sleep over it.
Because guys, like I don't think Jumpstart Part 2 would have been any good.
No,
I don't think. I think that wherever we're at is we're all happy and we're all totally cool, and we don't. At least I think I can speak for everybody. No one looks back on it like, fuck, man, we should have this or should have that. No one looks like that.
Like imagine you get the Johnny Tsunami placement and that blows the album up. And it goes like platinum, and then Hollywood's like, great, so we need another 12 tracks of Johnny Tsunami music. We need you guys
what needs to happen.
to go back in the studio.
Put this out there. I'm putting this out there in the universe, and this is what I think should do is that, see, they are gonna remake that movie. They are, right?
And then you'll be there.
And then they're gonna need the new version on retrograde, and so you better come correct.
And then Hollywood is going to just fuck you over again and steal it. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
no, I want $1 million.
I want $1 million.
I want $1 million tax free, and I want
a private jet ride.
And I want a private jet ride to Boca.
To Boca to do the negotiations,
because man. I'm thinking of Boca because I'm thinking of an alligator.
So, and were the recording sessions for it, were they tense?
Yeah, at times. I think.
Hey, Matt, tell him about the engineer that had to get kicked out of the thing because he was being weird with you. We had a weird-ass engineer, dude, that was obsessed with Matt.
I'm listening. We're all listening.
Yeah, no, there were some tense moments. I think with
you can't just skip over the engineer story.
No, I'll get there. I think as a band we were galvanized in a lot of ways to where we had this mission, like it was kind of like all for one and one for all, where like we really stood together in this kind of like fuck you stance with Hollywood. But as I alluded to before, I think there were tensions in maybe like exactly how to execute that. Like, do you just, bull rush through every door, or do you kind of like kill him with kindness? Do you manipulate the situation a little bit to get what you want? And so I think that's maybe where some of the tensions internally were with us. Ultimately, we ended up powering through, and I think we all came away with, Shut Your Breath, like this feeling of like, okay, mission accomplished with Shut Your Breath. But there were definitely tensions. And yeah, we were doing some overdubs at a studio somewhere out in, where was
we
it?
were in Chatsworth, the porn
Chatsworth,
capital.
right? Yeah,
Long way
speaking of
from
porn.
Burbank.
We love the
Yeah,
porn.
yeah.
We love the porn, man. You know what I mean?
know,
We're porn guys.
We were doing these overdubs, and well, not overdubs, we're basically tracking vocals and guitar. And yeah, there was an engineer, it was like the house engineer, that he would just stare at me all fucking
day.
Like,
uncomfortably
stare. Like, everything I would do, whether it was if I was in the control room eating lunch, having a beer, if I was tracking vocals, no matter what, he would just stare
at you, dude.
And like, I'm a pretty chill dude, but at some point when it becomes 24/7, I finally just said something to our producer, and I was like, dude, what is with this dude? And I was like,
and you wrote Trainwreck about him.
Oh, no, the shit was awkward, bro. Was awkward.
And I knew that's how the dude's making his living, and I didn't want to be a fucking asshole to him, but at the same time I'm like, well, I mean, I'm paying for this collectively, like, to have this great experience, and you're kind of ruining it. So I mean,
and that engineer, by the way, guys, Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Fucking creeper Rick,
Rick.
Yeah. So Zach's right. We had to have him removed, if you will. So off the project for good.
The best, I'm gonna say the ending. The best part was that he told the producer, like, yo, man, I mean, because the motherfucker was like, literally, like, he would just be like, literally, like, Google at him fucking all day. Like, it was weird. And then the motherfucker, he told the producer, told the dude, he like out loud in the room, he's like, yo, man, yeah, you gotta go. And he was just like, he's like, yeah, you're making my boy like really uncomfortable, dude. You need to get out of the room. And it was like,
and he just stared at Matt on the way out. He's just like,
yeah. Yeah, he did.
He did.
It was whack.
I was tracking vocals.
Whack,
yeah.
Do you remember what song you were tracking? Maybe that comes out in the performance.
You know, Kirk. Okay, I have one suggestion, Kirk. So what I think you should do, and this is I will mission for you. I think you should get a fucking interview with Rob Cavallo.
What did he do? He didn't produce that.
Dude, he produced Jumpstart. He signed us. He signed Green Day, Filter, Lance Morissette. He's the guy you should go talk to.
I would love to talk to him. Do you want me to say something for you, though? Is there an animosity here?
Well, no, there's no animosity. I just think, like, you're so interested in that record and that period.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to talk to him. He's a big fucking
I
deal.
don't think as a way to go after him. I think, like, it would be interesting because since he's a very well-known A&R and producer, I mean, he did My Chemical Romance, but it would be interesting to hear him like.
All right, bye guys. Wow, they didn't want to hear about Rob Cavallo. They're gone.
You know
you don't even see it. Matt just left the meeting.
Oh, they're gone.
I think that they're having a little connection problem. They'll join back up again.
Oh, I was
do
all.
You wanna,
they're all fuck this round.
Yeah. Do you want to talk some shit about Matt though while he's gone?
No. You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about the new EP.
We're getting there. I swear.
Okay.
We're getting
there. Okay.
Yeah, you're like we have new music out. But like I said, it's too fascinating not to get the whole story one more time.
Oh no, it's all good. I think the thing with it would be interesting is it's almost impossible. I think to, at least for me, I've noticed over this last year or so, since like, especially since you kind of sparked us getting back together and this whole thing. It's like there is such a. I mean, it's not even a change. It's completely different of the way these bands and the way things operate. And I am really, really like unsure what exactly a major label does now. Because I mean, besides the money and the machine part of
they
it.
Don't,
like,
no, they don't. The money's not a part of it anymore. Trust me.
But what I'm getting at is that like, in getting you into that machine, I get that part, but like, I don't know that the internet is the label to me now, and like
basically,
Yeah, it's like I don't know what labels really think their function
They
is
take
anymore.
meetings. They'll take a lot of meetings with you. They won't give you any money, but they'll just be like, "We should talk."
But you feel me? Like, because for instance, like when I do a lot of rap stuff, and some of the things that I've heard through my different clients is like, it's such a different thing. Like, we're talking single deals,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. Real scam artists is what they.
Like
That's a big
single,
scam.
yeah, like single 360 deals, which is basically you might as well just go ahead and just bury yourself in the sand. I don't understand what that is, but like it's so different than when the process that we went through that I'm not even really sure if the process we went through is applicable anymore.
You know what it is though, because the reason that these younger kids, these younger bands, they don't get the same major label opportunities is because they're way more business smart now.
So,
They just don't. They won't sign. I personally know people that have passed up.
Probably a good thing, honestly.
Yeah, I know people that have passed up 6-figure offers because they wanted, like, the label wanted too many albums. They're like, they wanted 5-6
Well,
projects
the
from
thing
us,
is,
and we
like,
said
I'll
no.
give you a perfect example, and I'll break this down quick. I'm gonna do
a
this like,
perfect example.
Yeah, I
yeah.
knew you'd say that.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that. So, like, let me break this down, and this is God's honest truth. I'll do this quick. We had a publishing deal, which is very normal to do when you get a major label record deal, right? Usually, it's the only money you may ever see. Okay, like if you don't earn any money on your album sales, this is the only money you're ever gonna get to live on or anything. Okay, so it's usually a lot. We did 2 albums at $500,000. Okay, it sounds like a lot of money. Hold on, Kirk, you still there?
Yeah, hello.
Okay, so 500 grand right away. Take off 20% manager, right? So you're down to 160. Okay, so like, or no, sorry, yeah, you're down to 160. So then, or 260, sorry. Then you go, or no, 240. So then you go to, and you go
See,
into.
this is how it all happens. You don't even know.
Sorry, I'm taking 20% of 500 grand. So you figure, what's 100 grand? You're down to 4. Okay, so then you're down to 4. Business taxes, individual, everybody gets 100 grand after taxes and bullshit. What are you getting? 40. Okay, so like 40 for a year or two to your next album is nothing. In fact, 40 grand in 2 years. That's a $20,000 income each year. That's nothing. So like, you don't get a bunch of money. So if somebody label wants to sign a band for like, or an artist, they'll go, "Oh, we'll give you $150,000 up front, and it's like 4 albums and blah blah blah." You might as well kill yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know people that have passed. So we do want to get through this era though, because I know there's brighter things on the horizon. But I do,
Oh yes, sir.
I do want to hear the Dyslexic Smile story one more time, because I know someone did not like that song.
That's all Matt right there.
So, but to set the stage, they wrote a song. Part of the sessions, they did this song called "Dyslexic Smile." Amazing song, and it's about
That means frown. You know what that means?
Oh, that's what that is? Okay. And the song is basically about how religious zealotry and bigotry is bullshit, and you can go cram all that up your ass. And someone didn't like that. Matt?
Yeah, I think we were basically at the time where we were essentially turning in the record, kind of doing final listens or whatever, and we're in the studio one day. I think we're in the studio, maybe we're at the apartment, and got a call from Bob Cavallo, who was the president of Hollywood Records. I don't know if he still is. And Michael Eisner, the CEO of Disney, together on a group chat, telling
group
me
call.
that, yeah,
They
They were
sorry,
like,
group
hop
call.
on AIM. Hey, hop on fucking AIM real
This
quick.
is motherfucking.
Right.
This is motherfucking 99. So we're probably on
Yeah.
speakerphone. Okay, we're on speakerphone.
Yeah, I guess they weren't asking me for my at.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get on a group call, and they asked me how important it was for that song to make the record, and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't have recorded it if I didn't want it on the record, or we wouldn't have, and was very quickly told, well, if it's on the record, your record's not coming out. So basically, either take it off the record or don't have a record. And I think with everything that we had been through over that year of making that record, and I think Kurt, we even chatted about it in the past. I mean, I even quit the band during that record cycle, or that making that record. I think it was just more important collectively for us to just get the shit out. Okay, if we're taking an L on one song, fine. Even though we all were very adamant about how important that song was and the meaning behind it, and what it meant sonically to the record to be in sequence as well. It was like, are we just not going to have a record because of this one tune? So, we conceded and took the song off the record. But that was
crazy?
Directly from Michael Eisner himself.
But Michael didn't even say anything. He was just on the call.
Well, he said hello, and he was like, "Hey guys," and like, fucking. It was Matt. It was
some mafia shit.
It was fucking. It was Matt and I on the call, and I remember like, Matt did most of the talking, but I remember I was just like going, and it was like, they said something cheesy, like, like, "Hey guys, how are you?" It was like, okay, so we got to discuss this song here, guys, and like, da da da, and it was almost surreal, like. You're in charge of fucking Disney, and you're calling us?
Yeah, like how could this possibly
About
be
a
that
song.
important? A really good song, by the way. You're asking me to take a really good song off the
This
album.
is the same label that originally signed ICP and made them disappear off the list.
It's true.
Right.
Well, when you mention that, then it all starts to make sense, doesn't it?
Well, it's just kind of weird. Like, it was just like, I can't fucking believe that he's on the phone right now. Like, yeah.
You know what's funny? I don't think it would have worked. I don't think it would have worked on the album because it would have been the only song not about hating the shit out of your record label. I actually think it would have. I have it on I have a bonus cut. It comes at the very, very end, and I think it's absolutely perfect like that.
Well, thank you.
But it would have been funny though if Matt had just been like, "Make it track 1."
It's funny you say that, Kirk, because that gets into kind of something that my wife and I talk about all the time. So like, I'm a lyricist. Whether I'm a good one or not, that's for y'all to decide. But like, I as a lyricist, I don't even listen to lyrics. I listen to music sonically. So it's funny that you say that it wouldn't have fit because you're looking at it from a meaning standpoint or what the words are saying. Like, I'm looking at it from a sonic standpoint, and I'm like, well, it fits right in. So it's interesting that you have that perspective because I wouldn't think in those terms because I don't fucking listen to lyrics, and I write the motherfucking things. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So let's go one more time, and then we'll keep it pushing. But I do want to know, how soon did the uh-oh moment hit after this one came out?
Oh, as far as like this isn't going anywhere?
Yeah.
Oh, when we got a call from our management saying they're pulling the plug on the record.
Yeah. And they said, "Yeah, you ain't touring no more. Let's go do a third."
I think we were
We were out with Typo.
Well, we had done the Typo.
Yeah, we had done the Typo tour.
But we started the Typo tour before the record came out. So I think we were maybe somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 4 to 8 weeks into the actual release. It happened in, I think it was July of 2001. I think by that fall, we were getting calls from management saying, "You're done. They want you to come back in and make a third record." That was, that was it. We didn't even get 2 months out of it.
And you told me to shove it.
So.
Oh, we were like, no, that's not happening.
We basically said, we basically were like, well, fuck you then. Like, we're not making a third record.
Well, because we knew that, like, but when the time we finished this Shut Your Breath record, and the time it was released was almost 9 months. And it was like, and if we made the third record, they would have just sat on it. And
that would
have never seen the light of day. So for us to put another year of work and our blood, sweat, and tears into something, and it would have probably just destroyed us, honestly.
So you break it,
and the record itself was getting more traction than the first record, which in that short time frame, we felt like it.
Well, one very key element that we're not mentioning is in the course of releasing the record and getting calls from management that it's done, Mike Johnston had left the band. Right. So that also weighed heavy too. I think we felt defeated all the way around. It's like
internal.
Damn. Yeah. Like not only yes, we had replaced him, and we were set to go back out on tour with Primer 55. Ironically enough, of all bands, you
would have seen metal. Some really small crowds on that one. You guys would have been the fucking flop brigade. Oh, your label's fucking you. Oh, our label's was fucking us.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it was like all of it combined. Okay, the label's pulling the plug. Mike left the band. Like I think emotionally we were just like, fuck all of this. You know what I mean? What are we fighting so hard for? Like, this should be fun. It's not fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, before we move on from this era, I want to show you something funny. There's an Amazon review of the album that was written on September 13th, 2001. And the review is like the review is like, what happened to these guys? This is awful. This is so angry. What happened to the band that made the last album? So this person was like, holy shit, 9/11. Also, this fucking album sucks.
I think that's the other thing.
Gotta let people know.
Yeah, dude. September 13th.
September 13th. The
That's
world is
crazy.
Well, that's
fleeing.
priorities right there, dude.
Can't let anyone else.
Dude.
I gotta also help kill this band's career. And by the way, let's not do the fucking 9/11 thing, but that didn't help the album either, I'm sure.
What happened on 9/11?
You know what?
Shit.
It was
It's not funny, but
there was a
it's
plane
funny.
crash. So anyway, like
He said September 13th, 2 days later.
Oh shit! Oh.
you know what happened is she must have been like, wow, that was a horrifying tragedy, but at least I have
You
this
know
new
how hard
Simon
it
Says
was?
album to cheer me up, to
Yeah.
keep me going.
No. The thing is that we don't appreciate the effort in 2001 that you probably had to go through to make a fucking comment like that. You had to go to like some window portal, download this fucking thing.
Get the
blah, blah,
dial-up
blah.
going.
01. We're talking.
Yeah.
Get the
We're
dial-up
talking.
going.
Yeah, dude. She was on DSL going like,
This
You know what I
band
mean?
sucks.
yeah, dude.
So anyway,
Fuck
Those
album
guys.
comes out.
Banging, dude.
Second record
That's
blow.
that's OG net banging, bro. Fucking
Album
no.
comes out. It's a
That's a
masterpiece.
big,
Label hates it. It dive bombs. You break up. You reform as Key to Arson. You put out an unbelievably good song called "One Last Night." I feel like that could have been. I feel like Hollywood might have done something with that, but you know, whatever. Moving on. Which has, by the way, has an unbelievably good bridge where you add on to the chorus, and I'll pretend you're at the door. And Zach does this lead. Oh, it's so good. I just had to say that real quick. It's so fucking good. Oh my God.
Thanks, man.
Magic.
Thank you.
You got any
please
leads,
bring that
man?
back in the sets. Please play that song.
Well, we have some plans for Key to Arson stuff. Matt
Yeah.
can talk about.
Yeah. No, it's coming. It's coming.
All right, well, then we won't talk about it. We'll just let the
It's
people
all.
find
Let me
out.
put it this way: it's all been remastered. It's all been remastered.
Oh, don't do this. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's
So,
all done.
so-
All done.
so, and then like Key to Arson doesn't really work out. You break up again, and then just like how much time? Like a decade, 2 decades.
Okay,
And
here's what I'm
Zach,
gonna do. I apologize.
Almost 2.5.
I have to go. My son, who's on the cover of Retrograde, is going to bed. I have to take off.
are you gonna
We
take
got it,
off and
bud.
come
We
back, or
got
are you
you.
just gone?
What?
Are you gonna come? You're just gone.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, he's got to go to bed.
We're gonna
and
talk
I-
so much shit about you. All right, bye,
Oh,
Zach.
go ahead. Okay, so check this out. If you want to talk shit, just talk shit about cocaine. I am very, very flighty and irresponsible, and the rest of the guys will tell you. That's fine.
Great. See you, man.
All right. Thank you. Love you guys. Thank you.
dudes.
Thank
Later,
you.
bro.
Later.
So that's where his advance went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he have like a really bad habit?
No, not.
All right. We're
then.
not doing that. We're not doing that. So
Not then.
Not then.
you know what? So I actually overheard Zach saying this when I met up with you guys at your whiskey show when you played the whiskey here last year, 2 years ago. Fucking hell.
That was last year.
I
That was last
overheard
year.
Zach talking about the process of getting the music back on streaming, and he was like, I'm tired of making excuses about that part of my life. Is that how Simon Says felt for a while? Is just kind of like this thing where you're like, oh yeah, it was a band we were in?
Yeah, I think that we weren't. I think because the four of us weren't speaking collectively, and none of our internal issues were ever really resolved. A couple of us would reach out to each other here and there over the years, but there was never any closure on what happened. And when, Mike left the band and we essentially imploded, that's how it sat for over 20 years. I don't think we allowed ourselves to celebrate it. Like, I think we just tried to like stuff it down, like, because there were all these feelings of just animosity and kind of vitriol, like, just, fuck that guy and what he represents, and fuck this song, and fuck what he played on it, like, just all that dumb shit. So yeah, I think we did just try to kind of subconsciously just dismiss it, like, never, whatever, that's not important to me, like, I don't let that affect me.
And for it to not have a
makes
presence made it even more.
Yeah, like it's
Right,
not. It's
right.
like the music doesn't even exist
right
until I came along.
and
So
absolutely, yeah,
now we get to talk about me.
you single-handedly, Kirk, and I'm not being hyperbolic with this, and I've been very adamant about making sure people know, like, without you reaching out to me for what, a year, and then finally through the Sages Facebook, like, none of this happens. This literally is because of
CE
you.
fucking
End
O
of
of new
story.
metal, baby. Michael Eisner, what? Michael Eisner, what?
But
So
that's
wait,
the
so
truth,
it's
right?
hold on. You mentioned single-handedly. You're gonna love all this because you don't know what some of the stuff I'm about to tell you. It was actually Nick. So this guy Nick, who I was gonna start a record label with, he's like, I was telling him how important it was to me. I was like, I really want to reissue some of these lost. I really want to Riviera. Got to chill on the praise or he'll be insufferable forever. I got news for you. I don't get any worse than this. So, well, we'll find out when I make my first million. We'll find out. But anyway, so Nick, who was gonna do this record label with me, he's like, give me a list of artists you'd want to reissue albums, and you were the first one on that list. So he goes, he's the one that found you guys. He's the one that found you guys. And I remember getting on a Zoom call with Zach for the first time, and it just being like, oh, because it was like there were no photos of you guys afterwards. Yeah. There was no like, oh, we got together for a barbecue or something. You were vanished.
There was nothing.
Yeah. So getting to talk to him for the first time was just really exciting. And the deal was, it was like, we're gonna buy your masters back, and we're going to reissue them on our record label. And I'm just gonna jump to the punchline of this story. So Nick was running his own record label at the time. I didn't know this, but he was not fulfilling orders. He was getting purchase orders for records and just not shipping them out. And he got in a ton of trouble for that. And he had to fold his entire record label and disappear. So you guys almost ended up getting fucked twice.
Oh, man.
Imagine what a catastrophe that would have been.
Dude.
Like, we did it. We got the masters, the CDs, the vinyls. They're being pressed, and nobody's getting them. They're not getting shipped out. We fucked you again.
Wow, dude.
That close.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, yes, BT Munchie, the Big Money Cybergrand thing. I remember at the time being so devastated that we weren't going to get to do that. And now I'm like,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because what had happened was Zach got really motivated to make this happen, to fix this. Yeah. And so Zach was the one that started sending letters, sending emails, hitting people up at Hollywood. And Hollywood, in their infinite wisdom, was just like, we were trying to like work it out, like we're going to release them on this day and we're going to make it into a big event. And Hollywood was like, actually, we just posted it now. Like just randomly. Remember remember that? It was just like
point, and then we're like, when's it coming out? They're like, it's there.
It's there. Fuck you guys. Don't call us anymore. But
I remember sidebarring with you and just going like what a big fucking letdown. Like,
you know what? But it wasn't because at the end of the day, it was like the music's out there again. And then I got to start telling everybody about it and getting everyone to go listen to it, and people just being like, there were a lot of people that were like, whoa, I remember these guys. I can't believe that their music is back online now. And then I also had a lot of younger people being like, I've never heard this before. This is incredible. And then to like my real shock, you guys got back together. The entire original lineup got back together and then toured, and it definitely, you know, it's gonna go down as like top 5 all-time greatest moments of my lifetime was watching you guys play at the Whiskey A Go Go. Because like I remember Matt walking onto the stage.
That was a fun night.
I remember Matt walking onto the stage and just seeing the whole band right there and thinking to myself, like, am I dreaming? How is this happening right now? How is this possible?
This is happening again. Right? Yeah.
Because there's a lot of other nu metal bands who I would love to, you know, I really want to do the same thing where I get to like take them aside and let them know, like, hey, you mattered, your art mattered, but they're dead. Like Primer 55, their lead singer's gone. American Head Charge, their bassist is dead. Nothing Face, their lead singer's Matt Holt, he's dead. So like to get that opportunity to put the band back together, it's making me a little emotional right now, actually.
No, that's awesome. I mean, that's ultimately, I think, you know.
And then you rocked that motherfucker. Holy fucking shit, you guys rocked that motherfucker. The first scream on Hey You, I was like, what? I could not believe. I thought you were gonna, you know, you might have to do a little less of the scream bits. You guys were fucking incredible.
No, that's cool.
I know you guys too were like, wow, we're really good. Like we still got it.
I think we're always hypercritical of ourselves, but yes, I was super pleased with that show in particular for sure.
Absolutely,
I was going ape shit in the front row. I was going fucking nuts.
I was stoked that you got to be there, and you know, not to get too, you know, emo or whatever, but you're tapping into what I know for me, like, you know, you and or Nick or the both of you getting in touch, kind of got the ball rolling for me to reach out to the guys. And then through that, I think, I know I realize, and I'm sure I can speak for the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
You know, like you just mentioned, you know, 3 or 4 bands where like members aren't here anymore. And it's like, we're all here. Like not only are we all here, we literally live within 15 minutes of each other. And we have for the past 20 plus years that we haven't all been collectively speaking.
You guys see each other at the grocery store like, oh no, fuck.
I literally live across the neighborhood from Mike Johnston.
Yeah.
So
like
my sister runs into him all the time. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, you have to appreciate it. It doesn't matter whether or not we quote unquote made it or we're a household name or whatever, like however you measure success, like, you know, it like, but the fact that we're all still here, we can make music together, like just appreciate that.
Craziest thing ever. I said at the time, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And now I think
I appreciate it.
And now I think it's number 2, but number 2, not bad. I'm gonna eventually accidentally have a kid and be like, well, it ain't Simon Says. Yeah, I guess this is fine. So
I mean, not to feed my own ego or whatever, but I'm maybe shocked isn't the right word. I think I'm just stoked that you dig us as much as you do. Like no one gives 2 shits about Simon Says. Like, and the fact that like you dig us as much as you do, and you put as much weight behind us that you do, you know, just, you know, throwing us out here and there, and just even mentioning us to people like whether or not they were big or not, or whether like they're one of those bands that just means something to me, like that's fucking dope. End of story for me. Like that's all that matters to me.
Yeah,
that's rad.
It was part of the excitement about discovering nu metal was getting to write about and talk about bands that nobody cared about. Because I put Shut Your Breath at I think number 16 greatest nu metal albums of all time, and then I put Siphon. It's still Siphon, by the way. I posted Blister when I did the rundown because I know you guys like that one, but no, your best song is still Siphon. Sorry.
No, I think Siphon.
But I put Siphon at number 14 on the best nu metal songs, two spots ahead of Break Stuff. And someone very recently on TikTok was like, "How the fuck is this better than break stuff?" And I was like, "Cause it fucking is." And then I blocked them. And it is.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that brings us, about brings us up to speed. By the way, if you guys have any questions for Simon Says in the chat room down there, drop them now. New music. So the EP, which I just listened to before I got on here, great shit, guys. First of all, great shit. One new track and 2 re-recordings. And the first song, is like kind of about becoming a band again, right? You're like,
yeah, reconnecting and just appreciating what you have, and yeah.
And then you launch into the angriest song you've ever made.
Well, it's funny. Like, I kind of view, again, I don't keep in perspective, or maybe I'm just so I don't know. I just don't believe that people give that much of a shit. So like, I look at Dyslexic Smile as a new tune. Like, it was never released. So
It did
yeah,
leak,
we
though. Do you know how that happened at all?
No clue.
Yeah,
no
it's
clue.
interesting because it's the full
You know?
320 kbs mixed mastered version that got out there. Thank God.
Wow.
But
Wow.
you didn't
Yeah.
know that?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Oh
No.
my God, guys!
So I
it's
kind
the
of view that
finished
as
song.
a new. That's crazy.
That's
It is.
crazy.
But see, the fact that like people are searching it or have found it, that boggles my mind. Like,
And how it got there
Yeah.
is boggling.
I was hoping.
So
I
I
really
kinda-
hope Matt would have been like, "Yeah, I leaked that shit."
no, not at all. Like, at all.
Somebody hacked somebody's computer.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that I always say I think that was kind of the sort of the thought process of what we did. It's like, okay, here's one brand new one. The first tune that we recorded,
Which is called
like it Across the Fire, and then here's essentially a new one. Yes, it's a re-record of a previously unreleased track, and it kind of captures that crazy, that side of the spectrum of Simon Says. And then I know Life Jacket has always been the most popular tune, but I just could never get down with how that song came out. I hate my vocals on it. Like, the mix is terrible. I know that everyone's perspective is different. That's fine. But for me, the guy that has to live with it, the guy that made my parts in it, I never really dug it. So we all
it must have felt really great to get to reclaim those 2 songs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, now, whether the diehards dig it or not, I can sit and live with this new version of Life Jacket, and I really like it. Like, I like the song again, which makes me kind of like the original, because I'm like, okay, even though I wasn't where I needed to be, maybe in the execution part of it, maybe even though the mix isn't quite there, I can still appreciate it because I have this other one that I love. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And you guys have a new drummer now because Mike's a diva.
Mike is a busy dude.
Yeah.
For good reason. I mean, yeah.
And
no, Mike.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike is, in part of our reconnecting. Johnston was very upfront and honest about the most important thing for him was just reconnecting and becoming friends again and nurturing those friendships and those relationships. Being in a band together and playing shows wasn't really something he was interested in. So outside of kind of doing the quote unquote reunion show and the show in LA that you came to, Kirk, like, he's like, I don't really have any desire to go out and do that. I just want to be in each other's lives again. So, we're all super fortunate to have, one of my best friends, Chris, who's become, I think, all of our best friends, oblige us and play drums for us. And, he's super busy as well, but, I think he loves us all on a personal level enough to where he's like, I'll play drums with you guys. And,
he's not a big
Chris was
superstar
the drummer.
drum tutor. Ooh. Mike, if you're watching this later, we love you. Don't get it wrong.
I think I would only do this. One, I would want Mike to sign off on whoever did it. And I think Chris is the only guy that all four of us would want to do this with, because Chris, is a drummer in hands down our biggest influence. I mean, he played drums in Far.
Oh,
and,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Burying the lead here. Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't want that to be a thing that makes him uncomfortable, but like he, Mike would tell you too, like he was Mike's biggest influence as far as like how to be in a rock band and like how to play like a rock drummer and
Oh, that
and
kicks
how to
ass. I
approach-
had no
how to-
idea. I had no
how to
idea he was in
approach
Far.
songs. Yeah,
the
and
fuck?
and that was clearly our biggest influence. I
Now
mean,
you
they're
got to
right in our
cover Mother
backyard.
Mary.
But like so I don't. If Chris can't do a show, then we're not doing it. Like it's not this thing where it's like, oh, we're just filling the space. It's like, no, like Simon Says doesn't exist unless all five of us are on board. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you're a
And,
band. So
so yeah.
now let's
And-
talk.
and
Let's talk.
so
Now let's
it
talk
just-
about.
the stars aligned. Yeah.
Let's talk about the future. So, spill
What?
the beans. We're
Yeah.
getting that Key to Arson remaster.
It's
massive.
it's done. It's done. Yeah, it's coming.
Oh
It's coming.
man.
We don't have dates yet, but I'm surprised that people like Keith Arson. I figured
Yeah.
Simon Says Diehards would be like Simon Says only,
Yeah.
but it's coming. Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, we figured, I mean, honestly, it was a local blip for folks in California and the West Coast, but wouldn't have expected the far reach influence.
No man.
to-
People all over the world.
Hey,
All over the world. The new.
awesome.
There's something really. New metal fans are really dedicated. I think it's because we don't get respect, one, and there's also just never been like a big underground new metal scene. So like any band you can think of that made new metal, there's people in Indonesia, there's people in Japan, there's people in Russia that really fuck with that band.
Yeah.
So like you
That's
guys ever,
dope,
you
dude.
guys ever
That's
heard
awesome.
of, you guys
I-
ever heard
I-
of 616 Undone?
No.
Right. That's one of those new metal bands where they got back together for a minute and they're like, yeah, apparently we have a big following in the Philippines. So
Oh,
Okay.
new metal fans, man, we care.
hey, man. Props to the Philippines, man.
Any interest now,
Filipino.
Filipino right here.
hey, there you go, man.
Yeah,
tour
hell yeah.
there. Any desire to make a new Simon Says album?
So we talk about this a lot, and I think our mindset is just record and release. Like we've got a batch of tunes right now that like we just need to kind of button up and like they're ready to go. So
No, that's not enough for me. We need to make you guys hate each other again. Because that's where you know what, that you guys drew some great music out of that. So if you want me to be the
Right.
CEO of the label so I can tell you guys, I'm not hearing a hit. I'm not hearing a hit. I'm not hearing a hit.
I think we just want to put
I'm not
stuff
hearing a
out
hit.
as
I can do that.
Put stuff out. All right.
All
I'm already starting to get pissed off. So.
Sorry.
No, I think we just want to like release it as it comes. I mean, if that means that the way that the timing worked out, sort of allows us to build up, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 tunes, then great. But like, I don't think any of us want to just sit on material to build this big collection and then release it all at once. It's like, if it's ready to go, let's just put it out. Like, and not that that's not to kind of fulfill some purpose as far as, well, that's what bands are doing now. It's not like we're trying to be relevant in that way. It's just, again, back with the appreciation and sort of seizing the moment. It's like, if something's ready, just put it out. Who cares if it's 1 song, if it's 2 songs, if it's 3, if it's 9, whatever. So to answer your question, I don't know that we're sitting around
Like you
want
want to seize the moment. You want to seize the
yeah,
moment.
just put the shit out.
Yeah.
Like, like I don't see the need to sit around and like and hold on to like 8 or 9 or 10 songs until they're all ready and then just boom. Like that might take a year or 2. Like what if we have 2 songs that are ready to go right now? Why don't we just put them out?
We also have 2 more things that we got to check these things off. First of all,
Okay.
we need the original Blister music video master tapes. We got to get that back. We got to get the
fuck.
correct looking version of that. I know.
Oh shit.
Hollywood.
Yeah. Damn it.
No idea how we can get that.
And
Zach might have a.
Zach might have.
I feel like Zach's the collector.
Yeah.
And we also need that Shut Your Breath documentary.
Oh, I know.
Right, that
I've reached out to
exists.
that guy a couple of times. Yes, it does. It does.
Man, that would be
That's a good
holy
reminder.
grail.
I will reach out to him again
Let
because
me
it's been a
know.
while.
I would love to see it.
Yeah.
So, well, that's a wrap from me, guys. You know, I'd like to. Oh, bye. See ya. See ya. Get back here. Get the fuck back here. You know what? It's been it's an honor to have you on the show. It's been an honor knowing you guys. I consider you my friends. I hope you consider me your friend.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, for sure.
So thank you guys
This is
so
all
much.
because of you.
Thank you guys so much for your contributions to the genre. Thank you so much for your contributions to music in general. And I'm wishing you infinity success. And I really hope you get the opportunity to sign one more garbage ass deal and get back in that headspace. We need one more shot. We need one more shot of your breath. So, all right, let Mike know I wish him well. Thank you, Zach, so much for joining us. Goodbye, guys.
Well,
Absolutely. Thanks, Kirk. Appreciate it, man.
Kirk.
See ya.